And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 9. As always, I am your host, Chris Raymond. I almost forgot what I was going to say. And with me today, returning from the OG episode 1, the Phantom Menace. I don't know if I can say that without getting sued. But returning back again is the, as always, awesome Austin French. Austin, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, Chris. Thank you for having me again on your podcast.
Thanks for coming back on.
Of course.
Yeah, I know it's been a crazy amount of time. Not really that long when you think about it on paper, but I think we were just talking about like September, October when I guess I first got the mics off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, there's definitely been a whole lot going on, a whole semester. I know right now it's currently raining, which is like a whole extra like thing. So no, I'm feeling all cold and sleepy already. But how you doing? How's your semester been?
I'd say this all the time. I think it's been a roller coaster ride, for
Yes.
sure. But I think like it's been the toughest semester mentally, for sure. In my third year here, it's been for sure the toughest.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I think like you mentioned before we started, there was like fires going on in California. We were first talking. I know a big part of we were talking about like, ways to stay active and outside. Now I feel like I can't go outside. I also kind of don't want to because it's really cold and I'm lazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been crazy changes, and it's finals week, so definitely shout out to those folks out there right now who may be doing their finals, or if you've already finished, congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
So your semester's been I know it's been a roller coaster, but it's been pretty good. I mean, has it treated you well?
Yeah, I think there's some pros to it. I think like I mentioned in the first podcast, it's like I don't have to wake up early, like around 5:30 to get down to campus. So I think that has its perks, especially with like the cold weather now.
Definitely.
My window, Chris, is like frozen. So I think there's a lot of pros to that. Obviously the cons are still the same. I'm not seeing everyone as I'd normally like to see. But I think it's been weird because I don't know if I mentioned in the first one, but I'm in a class where I have a lab for kines. And the labs is just like none of us know what we're doing. So literally we submit the work and I'm like, okay, did I pass this part? Did I fail this part?
Gotcha.
So
yeah, I know it's crazy to think about too, because the students and the professors are all in the same boat. So some professors, depending on their circumstances, may be able to adapt well or whatnot. Maybe like you got a lot of stuff going on at home and it's not as easy to get that work done that you normally would have done in your office or whatever. But no, I feel that it's definitely good that you are still persevering and finishing off the semester. Do you think you'll finish off strong?
Oh yeah, I should be good. So where I'm at right now, I finished 2 classes on Wednesday. And then I just have 2 finals on next Wednesday, the 16th, and then I'm done.
Nice. So you're already halfway done. Or
yeah. What about you?
Over. I'm hoping to finish strong. I'm definitely lucky in the sense that I'm only taking 2 classes, so 6 units, just because I only got just a really couple of them left. Hoping to finish strong. Definitely have got it down to, so they're lab-based classes. So no lecture, and I have like 1 exam that I'm not too worried about. And the rest of it's just like these giant, like 1,000 page reports on like chemistry. Not 1,000, but it's just kind of like these giant sort of like culmination reports of everything we've done over the semester. Like understandable stuff for like a STEM class.
Yeah. How has it been in person for chemistry?
So that's actually a very good question, Austin. Thank you for asking. So it's kind of 2 answers. So ever since the announcement to, depopulate campus, which sounds very cavemanish. I love the phrasing, but it's very understandable. I don't mean to criticize the decision. Ever since the decision to depopulate campus, obviously my class has been virtual. So I've no longer been going in person since it was like the week before Thanksgiving or something like that.
Yeah.
So since then, it's been going good. I've just been straight up bummed out just because I really miss going to campus. Like I think the first week was like the week of Thanksgiving. He was like, oh dude, nice a break. But then the week after that, you're like, you kind of just like, I felt like my dog when I go out and don't bring her. I felt like I would just like stand at the window and just like watch my car. And you're like, I wish I could go to campus right now. But it's been going good. It's really unfortunate that I couldn't keep going. I didn't realize how much of that really improved like my spirits during the week. Up until then, it was great because it was nice being able to see folks, even just the couple of folks that were in my lab with all the social distancing. Like, I don't even know if we really saw each other because we were all like coats and masks and stuff. Like, I saw foreheads. But no, it was nice getting that social interaction. I definitely miss it. Even with only like a month left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I feel out everyone's pain of the full virtual. Like I said, I feel like I'm living in some sort of like submarine, especially these days with the stay-at-home orders. So I know myself, I've been trying to do like everything I can off of Amazon. Don't mean to like show support online. I'll just say online shopping.
Speaking of that, I just did some Christmas shopping before I got on here on Amazon.
Nice multitasking. Yeah, I did like all my shopping on Amazon this year. I mean, I'm trying to be like better about not doing my shopping in the last 3 days before Christmas. And especially like now, I was like, okay, no reason really to leave. Plus, it's getting cold and I'm getting lazy. Like, nah, I'm good. Like, I actually gotta get dressed. Come on. But yeah, no, so it's been nice doing all my shopping online and feeling like a responsible like adult. And I actually got half of my gifts already wrapped, so I'm feeling
nice.
Feeling pretty good about that.
Nice.
Minor accomplishments.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
But yeah, no, I've really been missing getting out and about. Like, I try to go for a drive here and there, but even then it's like, all right, I'm going for a drive and I guess we're heading back because I can't really do much else. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So I guess the answer to your question is I really miss being on campus. I miss seeing everything. I think it's been about a month since I've been there, and I know I should really feel lucky about that because I have one of my professors. He's like, yeah, I haven't been on campus essentially since March. Like, I think he's been there here and there. I shouldn't say he hasn't been at all, but certainly made me realize I've been on campus a lot more, and I'm like, oh no. Like, so previous to us starting, you mentioned that you've been like, you had like a run-in with like Bane from Batman and he like broke your leg or something and now you're in a leg brace. Like, what's going on there, Austin?
You could say it's something.
You're going through some troubled times right now. You got to share this. What's going on?
So so let's just say I've done this injury before, but it wasn't as severe as the first time. So I was playing basketball with some of my high school friends. And it was kind of like a freak accident, it happens. But I wasn't aware of my surroundings. And, my friend and I both go up for rebound. I land literally like that on his foot sideways. And I literally couldn't put weight on it all of Friday or all of Saturday. It puffed up into the size of like a tennis ball in my ankle. And I was like, I've done this before. Big deal. I wasn't really too worried about it because I just did this in March, right before COVID.
Yeah.
What was interesting to me is that
wait, you got a similar injury? I don't know why I just said I just kind of breezed past it, but you got like a similar injury to this?
Yeah.
Man, you got.
But it was gone, Chris, in like the second day. So
fair enough.
So my whole foot now is purple and blue, like all the way to my toes is where. So I wasn't going to go. I went to the doctors yesterday and I was like, fine, my whole family's saying it's bad. I guess I'll get it checked. So I go and get it checked. I got x-rayed and I was a little nervous because I was hoping I didn't fracture anything.
Yeah.
But what they found was there was an old fracture in my malleolus. The malleolus is, if you're thinking like anatomical reference, is on the inside of my ankle. Gotcha. So my injury's on the outside of that. Yeah.
So the outside of the inside of your ankle. Is that?
So if you're looking like at a literally.
It's been a while since I've taken A&P myself, so I'm definitely, thank you for this little refresher.
So like Chris, if you're looking at your foot, it's like the inside. I had an old fracture on my inside, but my injury's all my outside. I literally can't move.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So, and I was just telling him, I was like, look, I have a lot of pain when I walk on it. There's still a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain when I walk up and down the stairs in my house.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, I can walk, but it's not like a normal walk. It's like a painful walk. So he's like, well, you're probably going to be out for like a month or two. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I'm like, I'm a pretty active person.
Yeah.
So it's just, it was a blow for sure.
See, and I figured it was something like that because I know a good portion of what we were talking about last time was just how to stay active, what you like to do and stuff. So I kind of figured one that it had been somewhere like that, or again, it was some cool like you got attacked by ninjas, you know what I mean? And you're like,
No,
well, I took them down, but they got my leg, like, and that's why it's Return of the Austin. But I know it's everything's all Star Wars today. I've shout out to the Mandalorian.
Yeah, but
have you been watching that? Have you been watching them? Are you a Star Wars fan?
I am, but I don't have Disney Plus.
Oh, come on, man.
So that's an L for me. I need to get that.
Just wait till the last episode.
Okay.
I don't know if I can say this, but I'll wait till the lawyers show up. Just wait till the last episode and just do your free trial and just binge the whole show, and then we'll have a third Mandalorian episode of the podcast.
Sounds good. I heard it's incredible though. I heard that show's absolutely incredible.
Oh, it's great. Like I'm having to like purposely stop myself from spoiling stuff, especially if anyone listening is into it. But no, it's amazing. Like the take on it is it's a like space western, if you will.
Oh,
nice. So I know a lot of the first season has like themes of like there'd be an episode where like, oh my god, it's almost like he's like trying to rob a train or something like that. Like the music, the cinematography, it's amazing. Definitely check it out if you have the chance. There's not too many episodes, so it's not like a hardcore binge-a-thon, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure you've been pretty bummed out. I guess going back to the busted up leg. And to clarify for folks who can't see, I guess myself included, because I can't see your legs. I'm just trusting you're in a leg brace. That's what you mentioned.
Do you want me to? I could send you a picture.
Oh no, you said you're on crutches. That's what you said. Yeah, you don't have to. I believe you, Austin. You don't have to.
Yeah. So what was kind of, this is what kind of scared me yesterday. So like, I was there. I meet with my doctor.
This whole thing is scaring me. I'm freaking out about your foot right now. I'm like, I'm worried.
And they're like, okay, we're gonna have to put you in a wheelchair. I was like, whoa, what?
Ooh.
So I'm like, they take me in a wheelchair down to floor 1, right? So I was on floor 2. Floor 1 was the X-ray. And I was like, all right, I guess. And then I'm there. What really made me nervous was like, okay, I was like confident I fractured something. I was like, okay, I think that was like the takeaway right there. I go and do my X-rays. It was pretty chill. Like the people there were very nice, very helpful.
Awesome.
I thanked him a lot, which was nice. And he's like, he was telling me the results. He's like, the good news is you didn't fracture anything. The bad news is you might be out for a while. I was like, but I was kind of expecting that. So they gave me brand new crutches, a brace. And so, yeah, I'm hoping the minimum's a month because I'm just like, I don't know, but we'll see. But I have to be careful this time because I think the last time I did it probably caused a small fracture because I just went back into it like it was nothing.
Like you didn't get enough time to properly repair itself and things like that. Yeah.
But
trying to refrain from using too many technical terms because I will quickly go out of my realm of knowledge.
Yeah, but crutches aren't bad. I really thought I was gonna like fall in front of everyone, but it's been good so far.
Now, I mean, you said you had a similar type of injury earlier this year. Did you have crutches then, or did you just kind of like just walk it off like the one-step program?
I literally like iced it for 2 days, and it was good. I didn't notice anything. So, but this one was bad. I was just like, I went walking on it Sunday, and I kind of think it triggered it a little bit worse because I was like, you know what, this is kind of bad still. So. And then my whole family was like, you know what, you should see a doctor. You should get it looked at. And I was like, oh, geez. So, yep.
So the moral of the story is, folks, if you have a foot that is swollen, purple, and blue, and you can't walk, you should probably see a doctor. Fair enough. So how's the so have you used crutches before? Like I've never used crutches. I've never even broken a bone. I've had like a lot of sprains and bad injuries and stuff, but I get cut a lot. I got a rough life, but I've never actually had a broken bone, which is kind of weird to say. So I don't really even know what that's like. Like, so is this your first time using crutches? I imagine. Is it really?
This is my first time crutches. Like, this is like probably my most serious injury. So I've been lucky, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's a weird adjustment because I wake up and I'm like, oh, I literally can't, like, I have to like grab the brace, put it on,
Have you
grab
had
my
any
crutches.
days where you just kind of like you don't think about it and you're like, all right, time to get up, and you're like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, now I'm like really thinking like, okay, I can't take anything for granted anymore
Yeah.
after this anymore.
Well, that's it's craziest part about injuries, right? Like regardless of what it is, like it makes you realize how much you take for granted, just like having a hand or having a leg. Which I know sounds weird, but I know I take that for granted. It was like, oh yeah, of course I have feet. Like, yeah, and I apologize to anyone who's missing feet, but yeah, you don't even realize that until it's like, oh my god. Or I know I had like some tooth pain not too long ago. That was awesome, but it wasn't lasting too long. It was like a week or so, and I took care of it. Big tough hornet, but it was kind of one of those things like you take for granted. You're like, oh my god, I would love to just like eat a sandwich right now without having to like slowly baby steps my way through it. And I don't think I've had too many feet injuries, but I've definitely had hand injuries, like sprained fingers and stuff, or wrist, and you're just like, oh my god, I would love to do whatever yeah.
I've speaking of jammed fingers, like I jammed my thumb once before basketball tryouts, and it was like, so if you're looking, it was purple all the way from the top to like the bottom of my hand. Never got that looked at.
I'm about to put
I
like
think I
a
did, but he
graphic
said like,
disclaimer on this video. This is
because a lot of times I'm just like, I'll be good, like I'll be
yeah.
fine, but
Yeah, you
so
seem like a person who's walked off a lot of injuries before, and I don't mean that in a bad way. You just like it seems like oh yeah, there's Austin. He's durable. He's good.
yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're like one of those old cars that can just like bump into everything, and it's like nah, it's fine. Just give me a
That's
paint job.
fine.
Like
Yeah.
it's fine.
Put some icy hot, we'll be good.
Some icy hot. Yeah, just walk it off. It's a one day. It's a one-step program.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the upside though, like I definitely can imagine that would be a pretty big bummer. Now that you have like the crutches, you can't be as active as you have been used to and all that stuff. But I'd imagine I wouldn't say not as bad, but yeah, not as bad because everything's at least virtual. Like I imagine it'd be a lot
Yeah.
worse, let's put it this way, if we were like in campus right now and like finals week, you're trying to rush around and you're like, guys, can somebody please like
And Chris, speaking of
push me to
that,
Eureka Hall?
one of my good friends brought that point up last week.
Yeah.
He's like, at least you weren't on campus and you had to rush to a class. That would have been bad.
Yeah, or at least it didn't happen on campus. It could be even, I mean, granted, I don't know exactly where it happened, but I'd imagine it could be where it was like, oh my God, now you're like, okay, we got to get folks in and out.
Well, to
Like,
Solano Hall, that's a walk. That's where a Knees is. So I'm just like, oh man.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I know I found myself like almost forgetting what buildings are. Like, I feel like I'm going to have to like do my own orientation when we finally go back to in person. I'll be like I know that one building where chemistry is.
Yeah.
Everything else is like it's weird.
It starts with a B, I swear.
Yeah, it's just because it's like, oh, I'm not walking on campus anymore. As soon as we go back, I'm sure it'll all like come back. But then you're like, I start doing like, yeah, that building with a roof. It's got some rooms in it. Yeah, that one.
I think it's made out of brick, right?
I think it's made out of brick. It's somewhere off of J Street. I know that. Yeah.
That's funny.
So what are your plans for next semester? I imagine you are continuing on with your program and kind of moving forward, doing some more Knie stuff.
Yeah, so I graduate in the spring. Very exciting,
Awesome.
But yet it's still very scary because you just never know like what's that next part, right?
True. Yes, and I'm with you because I will also hopefully be joining you in the graduation. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, so.
Yeah, I'm basically, Chris, I'm just finishing up the major, which is nice.
Yeah.
I enrolled in 11 units, but I really don't need 11. It's just like my major advisors said I just only need 2 classes and I'm good. I just need one more major class and then one more elective for my major, and then I can kind of take. But if we were in person, I would have taken a basketball class. I would have taken probably like another weights class.
Just keep it fun. Yeah, like why not? I mean, that's kind of the idea, or yeah, I'll say that's the idea of the senior year. I know that's kind of grossly wrong, but But yeah, no, I mean, that definitely is something that is fun to do if you have the options, to put it that way. Like once you get down the line, you're like, man, because I know that's probably something I would have done this semester too, is like, I've got all my units out of the way. Not to say that you don't do anything your senior year. I'm going to take that back right now. But I'd be in that same boat where you're like, just the way things came down to it, I really only have like 6 units I'm taking this semester. So then I'll kind of have like my last 6 units next semester. So I probably would have been taking something. Like I know I had a friend who was going to be taking like a judo course, which I know. I was like, what? That sounds cool. And that would have been a blast, just I guess throwing people around all semester.
Do you just have chem classes left, Chris, for spring?
Yep. Oh, nice. So I have it's all really just lab courses, which can be a little rough to get into just because of the due to safety concerns in person. You don't want to like blow up the person next to you. They tend to have smaller class sizes, and so sometimes it could be a little rough like getting into it. But yeah, those are the only ones I have left. So I'm pretty darn excited to get them done. And it sounds bad, but like I don't want to get out of here, but I'm really excited just to graduate. Like I'm sure I won't be running away from Sac State necessarily, but yeah, I gotta imagine the feeling, virtual or not, has got to be amazing.
Oh yeah.
Finally culminating this.
I don't know if did you fill out that survey for the graduation?
I saw the email. I didn't It's on my like list, but I feel like these days I have so much on that list that it kind of got pushed down. If it's not expired, I will do it. But sorry, Sac State.
Yeah. But yeah, you know what's crazy? It's just like I can't believe this time's coming. Like some of my good friends are graduating this semester. I had friends graduate last semester, and I'm like, oh, I still have a year. And I'm thinking, it's like 5 months. Like,
yeah, like a year ago, you're like, oh yeah, like it almost feels like it's 10 years down the line. You're like, yeah. But then you go through, you're like, oh my god, now it's half a year. And now you're like, oh my god, I'm sure it'll be even crazier. We'll have to do another episode like in April when we're like, oh my god, we're about to.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be when it's really crazy, especially seeing, honestly, just seeing how things are going to go. Like I know one of the biggest things. So for those of you who are like, what survey are they talking about? I didn't get a survey. There was definitely a survey kind of going on. Maybe Austin could enlighten me on some of the more questions, but the idea was just kind of getting what folks, idea of what folks who are graduating or potentially graduating, got to keep those grades up, or potentially graduating, what your thoughts might be, I guess, regarding like virtual graduation.
Yeah, I think it was, so if I remember correctly, it was like you get 3 options of what you want commencement to look like, right? But like in the safe way. So like the first one was, if I'm correct, it was like
there's not like a really unsafe Mad Max option where it's like on a dirt bike. Yeah, I'd take that, but no, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So the first one was like, you're on a football field with like, I think in total 700 people, but you're masked. You're wearing a mask the whole time. Yeah. And that's the one I picked because I think that'd be cool just to be on campus. The second option was like a car parade throughout, I believe, the whole campus. And then the third one was virtual commencement like last spring. So
nice. Yeah, I could definitely, like, I know it's one of those things where it's like I feel like my brain wants to vote on the complete virtual, but my heart wants to vote on the in-person. And then I guess my stomach wants to vote on the car one because I could just have food with me. But yeah, no, I could definitely understand that because I know I've only been off campus for like a month and it's been messing with me. So I can only imagine what it's going to feel like coming up towards the summer, or, finishing the spring, I should say. And it's like, all right, graduation's coming up, like, ooh, and just kind of being able to be on campus. And just honestly, because we're going to be, I guess we wouldn't be graduating together because we're not in the same college. I had to think about it for a second. I almost had to bust out the manual. I was like, but especially since you'd be graduating with your, folks in your fellow college and fellow major. So it'd be really nice to see like, oh man, look at all these chemists.
That is cool.
Yeah. So I am definitely going to be excited either way. I know I'll be a little disappointed if I can't do something in person. Things were crazy in terms of COVID around that time. I get it. But I know I'd love to do some sort of in-person, even if it's just like really mini ceremonies. Here's an idea, Sac State.
For real. It'd be cool.
Yeah. So I'm definitely excited for that. Do you have any plans following graduation, or is it just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
a big ocean that you're going to sail into?
So yes, I'm hoping, and I say knock on wood, if I pass that exam, I'm hoping to become a full-on trainer beginning
Nice.
next summer. Yeah,
Nice.
that would be like my full-time job.
Do you
Really.
have somewhere kind of already lined up? You don't have to name
Um,
it if you do.
I have a few I want to work at, but I have to
Nice.
like reach out again.
No worries. No
Um,
worries. That's cool
the
though. That's
dream
cool.
for that I mentioned, I think the first time I want to get my own business with it,
Hmm.
with being a trainer. I think that'd be cool. I was like when COVID was a little bit better, like it wasn't as bad.
Hmm.
I think in September, I think was when I was with you in the interview
Yeah.
or podcast.
Something like that.
I was training a soccer player for a little bit. Um, and it was
Okay.
fun. I
Yeah.
was like, let's see what I can do. You know, I wasn't expecting too much, but my main thing was I just hope he doesn't get injured.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, a lot of trainers don't know what they're doing, even though they're certified, which is super scary, Chris, because
Yeah.
it's like they put your trust into that person.
Now, and feel free to answer this sensitively, but why? I don't know. Why wouldn't you know what you're doing if you're certified?
I feel like because people rely on they get their info from social media
Okay.
and they get their info from I would say like non-reliable sources. So you know anyone could be
Yeah,
famous, anyone
makes
could be
sense.
like TikTok famous, anyone could be like
Hmm.
Instagram famous, but and I had to learn I follow this trainer. This is the good things of social media.
Hmm.
I follow this trainer and he's a same major as me,
Gotcha.
exercise science, but he
Hmm.
breaks it down like the degrees. Okay, you should be squatting 90 degrees angle.
Oh, nice. Oh, I thought you meant like academic degrees, but no, like
Oh,
literally like the
yeah,
posture and like
the angles, the
the form, I
physics.
guess you should say when you're when you're
Yeah.
doing these exercises. Nice.
So
Nice.
I really follow his page. I really study like what he kind of brings to the table to the
Hmm.
athletes. And it's been great so far. The athletes have been doing really well that I've
What's he called? If
it's
folks want to check him
called
out,
so his page is David Alexander.
David Alexander. Okay, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really try to I'm careful with what I research and who I trust on that research, if that makes sense. So I really kind of break it down. Is this valuable? Is this not valuable? Is this going to help me? Is this not going to help me? So
Yeah, do you do a lot of compare and contrasting? Like if you see some new, excuse me, some new like I don't know technique or tip or
yeah.
some factoid, do you take that and kind of weigh it against other knowledge,
Yeah.
and kind of do that measured response to it? I
I do
suppose.
that a lot with basketball. So I follow 4 trainers on Instagram and I look at what do they do and I compare it. So
Hmm.
does this guy do it just for like the popularity or does this guy actually like truly care about like the player and wants to see them
Gotcha,
develop? So
gotcha.
that's it's important because I really and it's like I try to tell people too, it's like, whatever you're interested in, do your research, but like you got to be careful with what you're researching. There's a lot of fake information out there. And I'm still learning myself. So for the exam I'm trying to go into, so it's called a CSCS. It's
Okay,
Certified Strength and Conditioning. And which is
gotcha,
cool
gotcha.
is that it's going to help because I am an exercise science student. Um, so a lot of it's I'm going to see before Chris, so like the anatomy, like what you took
Hmm.
to. It's just a
Hmm.
lot of review.
Yeah.
But I have to score an 85% minimum on it. So I'm like, ooh.
I mean, that shouldn't be too bad because the biggest thing I remember from anatomy and physiology, I guess, besides some of the content, I'm still strangely good at pieces of the heart, but I'll talk aortas all day. But it's just kind of like you just got to be dedicated to it. And I know me, I was kind of already transitioning to becoming a chemistry student, but it felt weird to just drop a class. So I was like, no, I'm gonna still stick through it. But I know some folks in there would just get in there and like breeze to those exams that I felt were like these abysmal challenges that I still got through and studied. And don't get me wrong, but I don't think it'd be too bad. Like 85% doesn't. It definitely is like a threshold,
Yeah.
but I think it's very feasible.
Hmm. Yeah, it's I'm excited for it to like fully dive into it.
Yeah.
This is like what I've been dreaming of ever since I was
Hmm.
in high school.
Oh, that's awesome.
For one of my main things. Yeah, the dream is still to work with athletes.
Hmm.
It'd be the dream come true if I can work with a professional athlete. That'd be
No,
literally
that's really cool. Or
yeah.
like kind of make your way up to that. Now, when you
Mhm.
say professional athlete, is that something like major leagues? I mean, I'm sure that would be the ultimate goal, right? Is kind of
Yeah.
get to like the
Yes,
NFL level or something. But
I think it'd be incredible if I can work with like an NBA player.
now,
Yeah.
what's the progression to like get to that? I know it's
Uh,
maybe not like one set pathway per se, but like how would you progress from, I guess, just like graduation up to
mhm.
that point?
So I would say, I think
Just
it's a
find their
lot.
house in Beverly Hills and you're like, bro, like, let me fix your leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
My name's Austin.
Yeah. No, honestly, like I think what it comes down to, I think, is I'd say being consistent in your craft.
Gotcha.
So like really, like if you're really dedicated, I think that's the first thing. So for me, it's like I gotta learn first some more. I know basics, but I
Yeah,
don't. There's a
totally.
lot I still don't know, Chris. Like I still need to kind of dive into that more.
Mm-hmm.
That, and I think just like putting your name out there. And what I mean by that is I think with social media is like
Gotcha.
very positive stuff and there's a lot of negative stuff, but I think it does have a lot of positives. And I think putting your name out there is really good.
Yeah, and you know, it all depends on the context you're using it, right? Because I guess it's one thing if you're like, I don't know, it's like posting pictures of your lunch, versus using it and hey man, if you're making baller food, like I want to see that. But versus using it in a more professional manner, like hey, I'm using it to further a business or a brand, I guess is as folks say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the other thing is connections, like who you know. I think that's the biggest factor.
Gotcha.
It's who you
Yeah.
know. Um, so I have a good friend who owns a coffee shop, and he's a business guy. Never went to college, and he's like super successful. So he's kind of been helping me a lot with that. Just to start, I haven't started anything for business at all, but I will soon, hopefully, hopefully. Um, but yeah, it's my plan is after I graduate is to start going into just Kines, focus on that. If I get into grad school, cool, then I'll go into that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chris, basically just winter break, kind of develop. Okay, let's prepare for the exam. The exam itself, I probably should have mentioned that earlier. It's like a 3 to 6 month process, but you basically pick in that time frame when to
Like
take
the whole exam or like the prep
the
work?
preparation.
Oh,
The
okay.
preparation,
I
3
didn't
to
know if it
6
was like it's broken into 4 days and I mean I can understand that, like, oh well, it's 4 different testing days and each one's a month and a half apart, so it would be like a 6 month window or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so you're paying yourself for the exam, which makes sense. But I basically have
I
to
like that
decide.
solution.
So let's say if I start studying like end of December, I
Yeah.
could take it as early as like March or
Okay.
April or something like that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It just depends how ready I
It's just a
will
big
feel with
exam
that.
essentially. Yeah. I
So
don't mean
then
like
once
downplay it, but yeah.
yeah. So once I pass that exam, I will be officially certified as a uh, strength and conditioning coach, or in other words, a sports performance trainer, which would be exciting.
That's cool. That's cool. And then you get like business cards.
Yeah, that's the plan.
No, that's awesome. And so I guess what would be your first step? Do you kind of, I guess if your goal is to work like in, with professional athletes and, you know, kind of, would you like work your way up the ladder? Do you kind of start with like college athletes and then kind of work your way up the different levels, the hierarchy, if you will?
Yeah, so it really depends where I
Professionality.
work. I really want to work at Results in Sacramento.
Okay.
They're a physical therapy place, but they're also a sports performance place.
Nice.
That would be cool because there's been professional athletes that have come through. So I'm like, okay, perfect. If I can somehow get in to that, that'd be dope. But obviously, I'm not expecting that at all. Like to start off with. I think would be cool for me is if I like kind of started off as a side business and then kind of developed into that.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Now, do you, and these are honest questions, do you, if you work in that field, are you, excuse me, I probably should have more water before this, but I've been so bad. I've been drinking water lately, too much coffee. But do you kind of work in one sport, or is that something that you're just like, hey, if you get an injury and I don't know, you can pay me, like I'm down to help fix you?
So Yeah, it depends. I actually wouldn't be working with injuries. That's more a physical therapist's job,
Okay.
and the physical therapy assistant's job.
Oh
So
yeah,
they
because I
work.
guess you'd be training, so you'd be like helping get him. So I guess restating my question, would you be working with sports or players in a specific sport, or would you just kind of be like, hey, if you're just trying to get athletic, I'm your dude?
Kind of both, honestly.
Okay.
I'd be down for both. But it'd be cool as like, let's say if I could work with a soccer player, a baseball player, a basketball player, like that would be cool. As I'm getting like various sports, track and field, cross country.
Kind of a whole mix and variety right there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, boxing, whatever. It would be cool. That'd be super cool. But again, this would be like my side gig.
Yeah.
Like if I can make this like a strong side gig, that'd be cool.
No, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, at that point, once a side gig becomes strong, it kind of becomes the main gig, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's cool. And I know, have you ever thought about maybe working with like MMA type stuff? Like maybe when things go in person, I guess that's kind of a disclaimer for all this, but 'cause I know there's like all sorts of gyms and stuff where it's not quite, I mean, I guess they're athletes. Yeah, they are athletes, but yeah.
I would be down, but I don't know anything about MMA. That's the only thing. I don't know anything about the training. I want to learn how to box when I'm healthy. I have
Well,
a friend.
you could do the physicality part. Like, hey, I'm going to help condition you, and then somebody else help teach you like the right punches and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But that'd be kind of cool just to work with somebody. Like I know watching that like Conor McGregor documentary that was like Notorious.
That's a dope documentary. I love that.
Yeah. Plus, it's just funny. Like I love hearing him talking. Like I'm gonna knock him out, and you're like, dude, I believe you, and then he does it. But yeah, it's a great documentary. But it'd be cool to like help even do that, even if you're not the person like actually doing the fighting training. Just being like, hey, I'm getting you ready for a crazy physical engagement. You know what I mean? Like fighting another person.
And it's very cool, Chris. I don't know if I mentioned it in the first podcast, but I'm in this class for kines. I have a final for next week, and literally the whole point of the class is you're creating exercise programs for people.
Yeah, I remember you kind of mentioning that.
It's pretty cool. We did one for me that we presented on. It was like running an 800 meter. So it's like, okay, what does my training plan look for cardio? What does it look like for weight?
I see. So it'd be like if somebody's getting ready for this task, here's what they should do to work up to that. Oh, nice. So what's the craziest workout, like what craziest plan you've had, or like craziest objective to get somebody ready for, hypothetically, or either in reality? Because I know you've worked with a couple folks, like the soccer player you mentioned before.
So do you want me to just say like what I've done in the past, or just like what I've done for routine wise for an athlete?
Yeah, sure. Either that or things they were getting ready to do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So for the soccer player, I was kind of, cause I don't know his training history. I don't know, like, do you have any previous injuries? That's the first thing I think that's important to ask, is knowing like, and medical history too. That's important. Like, does he have a heart issue? Does he have anything I need to know of asthma? That's serious. That's super serious.
Yeah.
I learned
like,
that actually.
You certainly wouldn't want to like put something on that stresses one of these previous conditions or exacerbates it. This would be the better phrase to say.
Yeah. So what was cool is I have resistance bands. I actually got on Amazon for a deal.
Shout out to Amazon again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Trying to get those sponsorships.
Yeah. So what was cool, Chris, so since he's a soccer player, I focused on his footwork. That was like that was like our warm up. We did footwork. I have a little quick ladder in my garage.
Okay.
And I used some bands. We did that to see how he would do on that. He did really good. And then we did weights. But now weights, I did more of a short workout just to see just the basics. Okay. Can he do like a normal squat? I don't really care about the weight.
Yeah. Is the posture going to work with like, kind of like we said, do you have any previous, like, do you have a knee injury, and going down that far, squatting down that far, is it going to hurt your leg or something?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, he did very well.
Nice.
And yeah. And he was good. My thing was, look, let's just take it slow. I'd rather have you do low weight and it be a little bit more easier on the first day than going like, let's say, all out and you get injured and you can't practice with your team. So it's been fun though. It's been really cool. I haven't been able to train him because he actually got a knee injury playing soccer.
I mean,
So
that makes sense. He's a soccer player. Yeah.
yeah, so I haven't been able to train him, but the
Yeah.
times I've done it, it's been really fun. Like actually more fun than I thought. It's been cool.
Now, have you thought about doing any like kind of physical therapy, or is that just so far different in the skill set that it would almost be like a completely different degree?
It's
Um,
yeah,
like,
it's I came coming into Sac State, I want to do
mhm.
PT. I was sold. I was like, I'm doing
Nice,
PT.
nice.
My issue was that I didn't research enough on it, and
Gotcha.
I was like, I didn't know it's this competitive.
Yeah, and actually, I think you mentioned that a little bit on the first episode. Maybe I
Mhm.
should have rewatched it before we did
Yeah,
this. But
you're good.
but yeah, I know you kind of mentioned that a little bit, but it'd be cool, especially in a circumstance like this where it's somebody that you've been working with, so you kind of already have this fitness level
Mhm.
relationship. I was gonna say physical relationship, but that sounds different. But like this athletic relationship with it, we're like, okay, I know this person, I know how they've been training, and it'd be interesting to kind of do like, oh, you got injured a little bit, like let me help also work your way back to being nice and fit and active again. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's PT, like I said before, it's a great field. It's just
Mhm.
really competitive. It's
Gotcha. Totally
almost
understand.
getting as competitive as nursing now,
Yeah.
low key.
I mean,
So
it's really needed, because
yeah.
for the same reason as nursing in a lot of medical careers, right? It's like, well, as long as there's people, they're most likely going to be getting hurt,
Mhm.
um, and somebody's got to be there to fix them.
But I think what I didn't realize, Chris, coming
Mm-hmm.
into it was that, oh, I'm going to be on like a professional team with PT. And I'm like, that's actually not the case. It's more
Gotcha.
of I could be working in a nursing home. I could be working in a,
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
I literally thought of it wrong. I didn't think of it like, oh, like realistic.
yeah. I mean, but that's
Expectation.
not a bad. I definitely understand if you kind of have this if you have like this vision of what it's going to be like and you see that,
Mhm.
but
Oh, yeah.
it's not too bad. I mean, like I can see on the flip side is that means there's a lot of different options you could use it for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I shadowed at results,
Okay.
and I was like, this is cool. But when I noticed that the sports performance trainers, I was like, they're having fun. Like they're having a lot of fun. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying the PTs weren't. I just thought it was just like, this is cool, but I still think this isn't me. You know what
Yeah,
I
well, I
mean?
can imagine it's a different energy to it, right? Because if
This
you're
is
doing
very yeah.
PT, you're not like, I mean, you definitely want to have a fun and good spirits too. Don't get me wrong. And if anyone's
Mhm,
doing PT out there, sorry if I phrase this badly, but it's not quite like, hey, let's get up and jump around. It's like, hey, you got this. Like, you're gonna get better. We're gonna take care of you. We're gonna fix you. It's just more of like an encouraging and supportive, I'd imagine, atmosphere rather than training is like, come on, man, let's keep pushing those limits um and
oh
all
yeah.
that. Yeah.
hmm but it's cool though. It's still a really cool field for sure.
Nice.
Mhm,
So I know myself, I do, I kind of do like a little bit of exercise here and there during the day, especially these days where I don't get out. But I guess in terms of my goal, something that I like to just keep in mind is I do a lot of outdoor stuff, or I like to.
it's
Um, and so something I always try to keep in mind is like, hey, if I'm walking up a mountain, I want to be able to do that. And I don't mean like climbing a mountain like free solo style, but like, if I'm just going hiking, right? And I got a pack on my back or whatever. My goal is to at least be fit enough to not be like gassed out by the time I get to the top of a hill, you know?
mhm.
Um, so what would you suggest? How would you design a training plan for someone who's trying to do something like that?
You know what's funny? Like we literally did something similar about that in
Nice, nice.
class.
And I know figured you because I know it's a very I don't say specific, but very, very common thing, is like
Mhm.
getting ready for that sort of like outdoor long-term endurance, right? Because it's not
Yeah.
like it's just like, oh, I just gotta pick this thing up. It's like, okay, I gotta hopefully
Mhm.
keep it.
So
Yeah.
so for do you hike a lot usually?
Um, I try, like, I definitely try to. I try to be somebody who's always on my feet. Um,
Oh,
and when I say I try to, that means like when COVID's not running around the world,
mhm.
and stuff like that.
So I'll give you, do you want me to give you my take of what I did for my plan and then I'll kind of
Yeah.
tie it into yours? So what
Yeah.
I
Totally.
did, we had sub goals, goals and sub goals. So my goal was running an 800-meter in 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Okay.
Now a sub goal, in other words, Chris, is just supporting that main goal.
Gotcha.
So my thing was focusing on the form,
Mhm.
keeping the form. Um, the other thing was supporting it. So having a stronger core
Gotcha.
will help translate to um, a better running time and pace. So what I mean by core is the planks. My planks were weak before
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
uh,
because you mean like things that's literally support like your core muscles and yeah,
mhm.
totally, totally.
And what the other thing was exercises that would strengthen your legs, like wall
Gotcha.
sits, for example, squats, all that stuff. A lot of sub goals that will help translate into achieving the main goal, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how I like. That's why I picked that because I was like, well, like I certainly don't mind just working out and staying active, but I
Mhm.
kind of like what I guess with this is it makes more sense to have some tangible idea of like why are
Yeah.
you getting ready, why are you working out, even if it's just to like, well, I want to be fit. How fit? You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. There's
Um,
levels to it. Hmm.
I yes, and I'm learning that. We can't see it on camera, but I'm kind of gesturing my gut. But I'm learning that. I'm learning that. But no, so I've been kind of using that as like my loose goal. And keep in mind, I'm not like there's some crazy mountain that I'm like expecting to climb. So I don't really have like I have to make it 6,000 feet. You know,
Hmm.
um, so that kind of works against me because like if I knew I was going to run 800 meters, cool, I can build up to that versus just
Yeah.
like a very more broad, like I just want to be able to hike and not die,
Mhm.
um, type deal. Yeah.
Yeah. But then what we did was, so we did this in a group. It was like my group members and I.
Okay.
So I would run like 3 days a week, and then
Uh-huh.
I'd lift, I think, 2 or 3 days a week.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it was tough. Like I ran cross country in high school, but this was
Mhm.
different because the
Yeah.
800-meter, Chris, is literally like 2 laps, but you're pacing it
Yeah.
and kind of
Yeah.
sprinting at the
Yeah.
same
Because
time.
yeah, I was gonna say it's very. That's what I was thinking of as like the difference between running a mile and
Mhm.
like, hey, can you do that 100 meters right
Yeah.
now?
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, because I know playing paintball, it's a very sprint heavy sport. So it's like a lot of folks like, oh yeah, I run a lot to get ready, and you go play, and they're just like, oh my god, because you're really only running like distances of 10 feet, but you're trying to do it like as fast as you can.
Oh yeah. So it's
Yeah,
way different because you're relying more on what we learn in kinesis,
yeah.
your oxidative fibers. So
Hmm.
like type 2A, type 2X, type 2X is reliant
Gotcha.
more on speed a little bit.
Okay.
Um, whereas like if I was just sprinting, let's say 30 meters, just
Hmm.
literally a 30 meter,
Yeah, like a real
uh,
short distance versus.
yeah, so that you're relying way different fibers. You're relying on your
Gotcha.
phosphocreatine levels and stuff. So that class is cool. It's super cool. I,
Nice.
I love that
Nice.
class a lot. And it was my major advisor who's the professor. So it was
Uh-huh.
really cool. So
Nice. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely been I think that's one of the biggest things I've been missing, especially with not being on campus completely. Because I know something I love doing is hitting up the river trail
Oof.
along the American River, and like even with the, in fact, I would do it even more because there'd be less people around campus. I was like, nice. So I was still hitting up
Mhm.
that trail up until we got told to go home. But I've been really bummed out about not getting in that like as much of that physical activity as I normally would, especially now that it's like really cold at night and
Oh
rainy.
yeah.
Um,
That area is nice, Chris. When I was in cross country, we ran by that on that trail in
nice.
the summer. It was
Yeah.
nice. It's a nice view for
Oh,
sure.
it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's and like I said, now I feel like I'm just like living in a cave where I'm like, I think there's a world outside. I'm not certain. I'm not certain.
Yeah.
So do you have, I guess, recommendations as to, I mean, I guess you kind of mentioned it, but like wall sits and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Do you have like specific, I don't know, do you just have like general exercises that you would recommend that would be really helpful? And I might have asked you this last time, but hey, maybe you have new recommendations. Just general exercises that you would say are good to do no matter kind of your goal, or I should say that apply to a broad number of goals rather than are just like one specific.
Yeah. Now, are you talking just basic like at home workouts or
Yeah, that's
just?
actually a good question. So I know I'm definitely asking for more of an angle on my side. So I myself, I don't have like a huge home gym setup. It's really just like a couple of dumbbells. So very
Mhm.
minimalist.
Mhm.
Um, I know a workout I've been trying to get into are like Turkish get-ups, which I don't know if you've uh
Okay, let me
kill
ask
me, but
you,
they're
I
fun.
think I know what you're talking about. Is it where you're holding a weight, you're lying on your back.
Yeah, you kind of
Get
like
up, you
start
get
on the
up
ground
without
and yeah. If
those
anyone
are
here is
tough.
listening and they haven't checked it out, do it. Um,
Tough. They're super tough.
I like those, and it's cool because you can do them with relatively low weight, like
Uh-huh.
something that if I were just like curling it, it's making me sound like a big old meathead, but if I were just doing like, oh, I'm just kind of lifting this or curling it, it's like, oh, this isn't too bad. But yeah, during
Mhm.
those, like doing the whole get up, and for folks listening or watching, are like, what are you talking about? Yeah, you kind of start like you're like laying on your side on the ground, you hold this weight up, and then you have to like go to like a kneeling, and then you kind of like jump
Oh,
up in the air and
it's tough.
yeah, no, it's tough. So I know I've been trying to like do stuff like that where it's kind of, I guess it's multiple exercises,
Uh-huh.
but I like it because it just, I don't know, it's something really different.
So
Yeah.
if you want a recommendation, what's like the heaviest dumbbell that you have at your
I
place?
think the heaviest I have is probably a 35 right now.
And that's still really good.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah. I don't
say
know why I said that like it was really light, but
so I would say create your exercises to more of high intensity. It's called HIIT.
okay.
Um, and those are good. Those are super good. Like literally, Chris, you don't need much equipment at all.
Mhm.
It's basically the creativity that you're establishing that you can do with that, with what you
Nice.
have.
Nice.
Um, so do you have like a bench? Do you have like a bench?
I do not. I just kind of have like a space I do work. That's why I kind of like the Turkish get-ups because you don't really need a bench. It's
Mhm.
just like, hey, do you have somewhere that you can lay down and kneel and whatever? So I have the weights, but I don't really have a bench.
So I'll give you an example program of what I would recommend.
Hmm. I do
If
have
you
a
were using
chair.
the same weight, so all just 35-pound dumbbells. So you could do military press,
Okay.
literally just military press.
Uh-huh.
You could jump right into that. I would say you bend over rows where you're just pulling the weight towards yourself,
Gotcha.
towards your
Yeah.
body. You could, if you want to throw in some legs, you could still do squats with that.
Hmm.
You could still do you know what RDLs are, Romanian deadlifts?
I don't, but I like the name. Because if
So
it's
it's
anything like
all
a Turkish get-up, it's gonna destroy you, but be a good workout.
so it's all hamstring focus,
Okay.
emphasis.
Okay.
And you're literally just forcing your legs. You're trying to keep your legs straight as you're putting the weight, you're sliding the weight down your leg.
Gotcha. Okay.
You're feeling a pull in your hamstrings. So that's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, I
You
can
could
kind of
do,
picture it right now. I can feel it in
mhm.
my hamstrings.
You could do calf raises. That's like 5 lifts just
Yeah.
with the same dumbbell. So it's
No,
incredible.
that's a good list right there. Yeah. Oh,
And
that's awesome.
I could always text you it too.
Yeah. No, I mean, I thought I'd ask you just in case anyone's in a similar situation where you don't have the full home gym. Maybe you'd like it, but you don't have the space or the funds or both.
And what I
But
would
yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Chris.
But I was like I say, but you just got a couple weights, or maybe you don't even have the weights, but you have some things that are heavy. You got some jugs of water or whatever.
Yeah, and
Um,
that'll work too. And what's important with HIIT exercise is you're having a super low rest time. So I would say like a
okay.
minute, like
Okay.
per exercise,
So you like do a
or
set,
I.
have a
Mhm.
minute, go back to it. Yeah.
So what I due to COVID,
Hmm.
I would be creative with what I have, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna use this weight, but I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go right into each exercise. So I'll do like 6 exercises, then I take a break.
Nice.
Next set,
Nice.
same thing.
Okay. Nice. Cool.
And I still get sore, still get super sore.
Yeah, and the fun thing is that, or at least it sounds fun, is I'm sure there's somebody listening who will be listening who's like, none of that sounds fun, but it's cool because it seems like you're doing a lot of different exercises. Like, because I know that something that's real easy to do is like we might have mentioned this last time, is getting mentally bored with your exercise, and then your muscles getting bored with your exercise. Like, all right, we're lifting again, like no biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think this is where it gets kind of where I get kind of stuck with it is that, oh, I'm doing shoulders again. Oh, I'm doing,
Yeah.
legs
I know
again. So
nobody
it's
wants
like,
to be a
well, if you
leg guy.
combine it, it's kind of fun.
No, and that's what I like about that Turkish getup, or the kind of the approach where it's like, oh no, it's nice. It's not just one like muscle group or one part of your body. It's
Everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's everything. And half of it's just like, I can't mess this up, or I will drop this weight on my head.
Yeah. How heavy are you using for the weight?
I started with 15. Like
That's
I
good.
use relatively light for that, especially
That's good.
God, especially if I take a couple days off, or I just hadn't done it for a couple days, and it's like, all right, let me make sure I don't kill myself with this.
That's good. Those are good.
But yeah, no, I like it. It's something different. I can do that. I don't feel like I'm like, oh, I'm just kind of going through the drudgery of the same workout, because that's probably what stops me from working out the most. Is it just feels rote. Like, all right, doing the same thing
Or
again.
you feel like you're not getting any benefits with it at some point?
Yeah, like you kind of are, but you're like, this could be better.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I could be getting better gains.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not really my full goal right there. But yeah, no, I could be getting more better exercise out of this. Yeah. Yeah. So nice. That was I know you definitely have kind of limited time, which is understandable. It's finals week. Though it sounds like you already got most of your finals done.
Yeah.
But no, I get you. Definitely everyone's got a whole lot of stuff going on. You got a whole business to get going. You got to make that logo, bro. But no, it was definitely awesome to have you come on the show again. I almost forgot to say again. It's definitely awesome to have you back on the show. There we go, Austin. And to get some more insight, honestly, on exercise, maybe I'll bring you on here one time and we won't talk about exercise. But I know you're so knowledgeable on it; it's kind of hard not to pass up that opportunity.
I'm still learning a lot too, Chris. I'm still learning too.
Next time you come on, just ask me chemistry questions the whole time. We'll just do that. It'll be my major this time. But no, that was a lot of good information. Plus, I thought I just see it's almost like a science experiment, because I saw you like kind of towards the beginning of the semesters, and it's like a psychology, like, awesome, let's check in. It's the end of the semester now. How's it going? But no, it was great to see you again. Good to have you back on the show. Good to get some awesome exercise knowledge. Before we wrap up, do you have any concluding thoughts?
I would just like to tell everyone just to stay positive, have a positive mindset, and just stay strong during these times. I know it's tough. I know it's super tough. But we'll all get through it. We'll all get through it. So
yeah, and I will definitely second that. I mean, I don't want to be the guy who's like, don't stay positive. No, stay positive, keep the spirits up. I know something as seems trivial or cosmetic as just throwing up some holiday decorations, whatever holiday that might be, can really just bring your spirits up. Like the nightly walks I have been trying to take, oh my god, it's been amazing just seeing Christmas lights up. So the summary of that is, do what you can to stay positive, even if it's something that might not seem like it might have that big of a change. It probably will. So yeah, definitely stay positive, folks. Keep the spirits up. Those finals are almost here. Finish strong, no matter how you might have done on an exam or an assignment or whatever. And of course, as always, Stingers up.
Cool. Thank you, Chris.
Of course.